Thanks for being us. Not only are we going to talk about Trump and the political debate that we just saw on Thursday, but we're also going to talk about an update about the US-Syrian rebels that have been missing. Yeah. So let's start off with Trump. Is anybody taking him serious? I mean, he's in everybody's headlines, and because he's making these comments.
Clearly, the American people are taking him seriously, and I think that when you look at his, the statements, he may not be politically correct using the words that maybe, the current politicians are saying, but he's clearly struck a chord with the American people, because ultimately, when pollsters reach out and take these polls, he's leading the polls. And will these continued comments do him in? We don't know. But I think that, at this point that, as journalists and as commentators, they, really need to see how the political process plays out. Let the American people decide who they want to run for that political party, and it might just be a big party for Hillary in
now,
November.
These debates really test candidates' characters, and you can see a lot from Trump and how he went after Megyn Kelly, and in the aftermath what he said about her, the comments that he made about blood coming out of wherever. Her eyeballs, yeah, and wherever. What's your take on that? His character, can he really, if he's elected, deal with world leaders, China, Russia, Iran?
Are we really doing that good of a job right now? I think that, and I think this is where the American people are looking at. They're looking at the fact that this country, we're not seeing any new jobs. We're $18 trillion in debt. We're making deals with Iran, and the Iranian Ayatollah leader has made threatening, gestures in tweets to the President of the United States. We've got Soleimani, who's the top spy for Iran, who was not allowed to travel. This last week he actually went to Russia to buy weapons from Vladimir Putin. So I think right now, the American people, when they look at this, and who knows who will be the last person standing in this GOP thing, if there's any of them left standing after this entire wrecking crew that's going through. However, we're in a very serious situation, and I know a lot of the talk here has been talking about Megyn Kelly, but I think that the real war on women is taking place in the Middle East, where 3 days ago ISIS murdered, executed 19 girls for not surrendering to having sex with their fighters. That's the real war on women, and I think that's where politicians, they're going wrong here, because they're trying to get down in the dirt here and in the little minutia of it all, but there is a world out there. There are families who are struggling to make ends meet, who are working 2 and 3 jobs to get by, and I think that's the chord that Mr. Trump has actually spoke of here, and I think that's where you're seeing some of this. But I also want to give an update here real quick on just the story that we reported on last week about the 54 trained US-trained Syrian free rebels. Also on the same night of the debate, word got out, and CNN actually did break this news, that all 54 had vanished and they have not had contact with them. So now we've got 54 more people that the United States have trained in a country where they're most likely captured or killed, and who knows what happened to them. And those are also big stories that we need to be talking about here.
All right, Kimberly DeWar, thank you for that update. And to